Meeting of the Beaufort County Stormwater Management Utility Board to order. Because we currently do not have an agenda, we cannot approve the agenda, but we will go forth with the proposed agenda. Because because there is no quorum, we cannot approve the minutes. So as such, we will move to introductions.
Van Willis, Town Report Roll.
Nate Farrow, City of Beaufort.
Mark Feinberg, Chairman and representing unincorporated District 9 in Defusky Island.
James Clark, represent unincorporated Port Royal.
Brian Watkins, member at large. Jeff Fensinger, Town of Hilton Head Island.
Joanna Zorin, Stormwater Infrastructure.
Julianna Corbin, Beaufort County Stormwater.
Matthew Rausch, Beaufort County Stormwater Infrastructure.
Katie Herrera, Beaufort County Stormwater Manager.
Okay, thank you. At this time, are there any public comments? I guess at that point, we will move into reports.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope everyone's having a great December. I'm going to go ahead and get started on your reports. First up is regarding the utility update. As you know, we've completed all the milestones for the Southern Lowcountry Design Manual. We began implementation of those standards February 1st of this year. At the last utility board meeting, we voted and approved some minor amendments to that manual and design standards. Those have made it through the Natural Resources Committee and the first and second reading at County Council. We are waiting on the third reading, which will be January 10th of 2022. So those standards will be implemented as soon as the third reading has been adopted. For special presentations, I know this month we had scheduled Dr. Monty with University of South Carolina, Beaufort, and based on his spring schedule, he did not know if he would be able to attend any of the meetings that we had. So once we vote to approve the 2022 schedule, I'll be reaching back out to him and try and get him on potentially the April meeting before school's out again. We do have confirmed that we will have Wilbert staff at the February 9th meeting to present to you all the results of the audit we had done for our department. Again, that'll be at the February 9th meeting. Cypress Wetlands, we would still love to be able to meet there and have that group present as well. Potentially for the April meeting if Dr. Monty confirms his availability. And then last but not least, as soon as we have some finality to what's going on with the delinquent fees as it relates to the military installations, we do still have legal on standby to do a presentation to you all on that. For the monitoring update, hello, Mr. Schneider.
Welcome, Alan. Good to meet you. Good to see you.
Quite an entry.
Well, absolutely.
Sorry.
Do we need to go back and adopt the agenda?
I know we're just going to continue right now with your reports.
Okay, perfect. Joanna, on the next page for the lab update, that report has been included in your packet. We did just recently finish out the quarter and are therefore completing this year's efforts for all of our water quality sampling. For the Stormwater Implementation Committee, we have been meeting fairly regularly. We have one contract that is coming to the end of its term. That's this year. That's the Carolina Clear contract for our education and outreach. Right now, we have, again, Carolina Clear through Clemson Extension, and we are currently working with the SWIC committee, all the municipalities, as well as Carolina Clear staff to reach an agreement on what we want to see moving forward. That contract will be another $90,000 contract. I know we're kind of working on budgets now, so just to give everyone a heads up that they are not anticipating increasing the cost of that contract for us at this time. From here, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Julianna for projects and contracts.
So as far as stormwater related projects, we continue to meet monthly about easements and push forward with those as need be. We are pending council guidance for the edits made to the extent of service and level of service documents. We continue to receive and work through complaints, and two of those of note are the flyover bridge repair on US 278. That project was complete. A punch-out list is still outstanding, but it's expected that we will close that project out by the end of this month. Shell Point, that's been a big project for us lately. We are pursuing funding through both the BRIC grant and the HMGP Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. And so a lot of the past week has been spent going door to door, getting photos of houses older than 50 years. We've had a lot of success with that so far, and so I hope that the grant application is just as successful. We are earmarking funds to cover those costs in case the grant doesn't work out. This is a big priority for the stormwater program. The Factory Creek Watershed Regional Detention Basin Phase 1 and Academy Park subdivision is still in the legal realm as far as the easement goes. As is the case with Factory Creek Watershed Regional Detention Basin Phase 2. Pepper Hall, the Roads and Infrastructure Plan Amendment was approved since we last met. And conceptual plans for the single-family home complex on site were reviewed in staff review team last week, I believe it was. The apartment project has conceptual approval, and so construction continues out there. Construction also continues on the Whitehall property. The Ladies Island Plan, sea level rise, and no fill ordinance. We do not have an update about that at this time. We've been working on dredging the pond, the stormwater pond at Tuxedo Park subdivision. Several engineering firms on the county vendor list are taking a look at the scope that we've prepared and coming up with quotes to complete the construction drawings that will then go out to bid for the actual dredge work. We received survey data from the Huspacourt North survey, which I believe has happened since this report was prepared. Yes. So Mr. Neal and I met yesterday to begin that design work, and that will be done in-house. So as far as professional contracts, the fiscal year 18 capital improvement projects, Salt Creek, the appraisal is complete, and we are waiting on the go-ahead from county leadership to move forward with that, as is the case with Shanklin. And on November 22nd, we released the notice to proceed to Brewer Memorial Park, and so construction has commenced there. And last time I was out there, they were working on the old bait pond and getting that up to speed with the plans. The Evergreen Regional Pond 319 grant project, the pond itself is done. That contract will be extended though because of a utility conflict, and the only thing that remains out there is getting the pipe from the curb inlet to convey the water to the stormwater pond. Our consulting services with Wolpert, the scopes there, the general services scope still exists. Scope number 2, I believe is complete for the Soloco manual training. Scope number 3, the program audit, we were going through that last time this board met 2 months ago, and we anticipate having the draft pretty soon. Scope number 4 for tax run and utility assistance is still ongoing. Scope number 5 for the drainage study for Buckwalter and Bluffton Parkways was abandoned. Scope number 6 for the Turtle Lane drainage study, we got some of that back, I believe, so that's wrapping up. Scope number 7 for the Northern Ladies Island drainage study is in review now, making final tweaks before it's approved. We're also looking at engaging new scopes for the Arthur Horn Park and a 319 grant that could be associated with that project. They're in the process of writing a scope on the Battery Creek 319 pond. Also in consideration is the St. Helena drainage study, an annual report to DHEC, and then the Gray Pond, Battery Creek, Burton Hill M2 retrofit. And that's all for contracts.
Any questions?
No.
All right, and I know one of the updates from the last presentation in October was that we were engaging Wolpert with reviewing the Gray Pond a little more extensively to figure out those retrofits. As of right now, they have received all the data from the original design as well as the model, so they'll be getting to work on that to provide final design and contract services for that retrofit project. For regional coordination, not much going on, unfortunately, today. Miss Kim Jones couldn't be with us, but she did say she was here in spirit. For Mossy Oaks, we continue to work on the monitoring efforts for their recent project completion for their drainage retrofits out there. That should be wrapping up. I think we only have 1 or 2 more efforts. For municipal reports, the only report we received was from Miss Jones, but I know that we do have our municipal partners here with us. I would like to give them the floor if they have anything to present to the board.
Jeff Metzinger, Town of Hilton Island. Not a whole lot to report since we met last month. We're still short that position that Brian Eber left as the MPDS administrator. We have interviewed for that, and we're going to be making an offer here in the next week. Hopefully get that filled by early next year. Other than that, we're just chugging along, taking care of our projects, and about it.
Nate Farrell, City of Beaufort. Just some of the smaller little projects we have going on is we just did some more work on the flat gates out on the Spanish Moss Trail, repairing some of the arms that one broke off, and then they came up with a new design to fix the way that they were attached. With that, we're also doing some ditch clean out on the Spanish Moss Trail, and then Southside Park, we're doing some clean out there to help with the drainage at the Arthur Horn.
All right, Port Royal, right now, we're trying to lower the water level in Cypress wetlands to install a concrete structure, replace the earthen dam that was ruptured, if you will, a while back, but that's taken a little bit longer than we anticipated. We're actually scoping out an expansion of our system to include West Paris Avenue, Madrid, kind of tying it into that entire system that circles back to Cypress wetlands. And then a little bit of good news, we did receive a T-Mobile grant to kind of address some of the amenity parts of the Cypress wetlands, including some upgrades to some of the walkways and gazebos and some other stuff that's going on there.
How much was that for? 15?
50, yeah, 50 and some change,
That's
I think.
awesome. Very nice. Great. For the MS4 reports, in late October, we began implementing our InterGov software, and I'm happy to report that that's moving along pretty great for all of our inspection staff. Up at the top shown now, we have our planner view and stormwater permit charts. despite implementing that new software, we haven't really skipped a beat as far as what we're seeing coming in. Again, work being done in Beaufort County is not slowing at any rate. And our inspection summary, again, up at the top there, we've continued to be doing over 600 inspections a month, investigating any sort of illicit discharge complaints that we get. I know Matt's team stays very busy with drainage issues that come through, and then we continue to work on our post-construction BMP program. So all of that has been included in the packet. Public education, I know Miss Ellen Camo is here, so I would like to give her the floor to speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you, because I see a couple new faces, my name is Ellen Stirrup-Camo. I am the Beaufort County Water Resources Extension Agent. I'm also the coordinator for the Low Country Stormwater Partners Consortium. And over the past November, we were actually quite busy. I'm really happy to announce that the 252 square foot rain garden was installed at Mossy Oaks Elementary School as part of their outdoor classroom. That was in conjunction with master gardeners and master naturalists. I had 3 very intrepid volunteers help me install the garden, and 3 other very intrepid volunteers pull sod for 5 days straight. But it is looking beautiful, and if you go to the Low Country Stormwater Partners Facebook page, not only do we have pictures of the rain garden, the Beaufort County School District also put together a lovely video featuring it, and that is pinned to our page. It's also on their Facebook page. Another success that we had was the Be Septic Safe social media campaign. We leveraged our Facebook page as well as our partners, as well as other Clemson Extension Facebook pages to provide septic maintenance tips throughout the whole week of Thanksgiving to help people make sure that their septic tanks were functioning and the holidays weren't wrecked by a septic system backing up into somebody's home. That was quite successful. We had a reach of 1,416 individuals hit with our messaging for that week. We were very pleased with that. Other than that, we also had our consortium meeting at the very end of November. We had 18 people come and we kind of celebrated our successes for the year. And we also started planning for 2022, which looks to be a very good year with a lot more hands-on workshops on the horizon.
Great, thank you, Ellen.
Thanks, Ellen.
Any questions for Ellen?
No updates, unfortunately, from the state level about when the next iteration of the MS4, the phase 2 MS4 permit's going to be available. But as soon as we have more information, I'll be happy to provide it. I think I've been waiting on that since I started here, and that was 2018. So just 2 more shout outs before we jump into our infrastructure reports. As you know, we have been doing interviews for all of our vacant positions, and the biggest position for my management group is our admin. I'm very excited to say we have extended an offer to someone we have interviewed and look forward to having her starting at the beginning of next year. So that'll be a new phase to the team. She's got a lot of experience, and we look forward to using all the skills that she'll be bringing to the table for us. So her name is Karen Ingram, if anybody would like to know. We did recently have 2 of our staff members take the Certified Stormwater Plan Reviewer course through Clemson, and we are still waiting final results on that, one of those individuals is in this room, Miss Julianna Corbin. We're expecting a pass. But I know that both of these staff members did a great
Magna cum
job.
laude, most likely.
I'm sorry? What?
Magna cum laude, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, top of the class. Hey, C's get degrees. Just saying. And then I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's on our Shell Point Community Task Force. We have a very active group in the membership of that team. That we have representatives on our staff, as well as 2 of the board members, Mr. Van Willis, Mr. Jim Clark, Miss Alice Howard, our councilwoman. She has been on the streets with us trying to get some of these grant application requirements knocked out. We have a list of about 256 properties that we have to get images of front, back, and sides, and it's been no easy task, but doing it as a group has really made things go by quickly. So I just want to say how appreciative I am to members of that board. The task force. We also have Mr. Robert Wilkinson. He takes the lead on all the posts for Facebook. And then we have the Kazalkas. They are also very active members of that task force and have been instrumental in getting a lot of the imagery we've needed in their community provided as well. So, again, I just want to say how appreciative I am to that group. We'll continue to meet until the mission's been completed. And I just want you all to know how much effort that you put into that group. So, with that, I think we're done with my reports. I'll give it over to Matt.
Good evening, everyone.
We also have interviewed and made offers to 3 employees to bolster our construction staff. Hopefully that after the first of the year, we'll have that personnel in motion. For this reporting period, we have a total of 6 minor projects at a total expense of $19,406. Those projects include Kitty Landing Road, excuse me, Polite Drive, Pritchard Street, Camp St. Mary's, and some select tree removal from our work shelf. We currently have 61 scheduled projects, and our staff we're now working with a couple of local contractors to help address some backlog issues that we had. Any questions about the report?
Backlog is caused because you just didn't have enough manpower?
There's a few different reasons that played into that, whether it's equipment or personnel, but we're experiencing the same problems everyone else is right now with a workforce.
Understand.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Now it's time for liaison report.
I want to apologize for being late. I was in another meeting, and anyway, somebody talked too long. It wasn't me, but I couldn't leave. I wanted to thank Julianna and Katie for helping Jim and I go door to door. It's been educational, hasn't it, in Shell Point? But the greatest invention in the world I've discovered is Ring, because I'd go up to a house and there'd be no cars. I just knew it was going to be one we weren't going to get. And you know that contraption called Ring? Have you seen it advertised? Mm-hmm. You hit it and then you're talking to somebody and they give you an okay to take pictures of their house, and it's wonderful. So it's helped a lot. So I don't have it at my house, but it's a great invention. Liaison, I don't have much to report except what you already said about Shell Point. And we had our budget retreat. I think we talked about that last time at this meeting, the county did. So we're way ahead of schedule compared to other years on budget cycle, I think. So I can't think of anything else. Unless y'all have questions for me.
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Now we'll move into, I don't see on the agenda any unfinished business. Although this past year, we had a washout of an actual site visit to a stormwater-related project. And I would like to get a feel from the board. Should we try to do that next year and not just bring the one we missed back into picture, but work with Katie to come up with the most significant projects we have going on and have the stormwater utility actually go out as a group and see where the budget money is being spent and where we're at on the projects. feet on the ground, I guess you'd call it. I just want to get a feel for how we feel about having meetings, whether they want to be extra field trips or whether we have a small administrative meeting if the weather permits and then have the actual site visit, or whether we have a small administrative meeting here and then move to the site. I'd like to get some feedback on that.
Well, I would recommend that possibly, since we're only meeting every other month, that month in between, we use it for site visit.
I concur with that.
So it would be a little extra work for Katie's group to organize it, but if we could, depending on whose area it's in, could assist the stormwater group in coming up with the month and the visit and what engineer or supervisor you would want to be there to do that. It makes sense to me, but we'd have to coordinate it with you and your staff.
Just so I'm clear, this meeting would not be in similar format to what we do when we meet every other month?
Well,
Just want to do a site visit?
what I hear, and I see nodding agreement, in lieu, it would not be in lieu of our every other month meeting that's regularly scheduled by convention. However, on the other months, and maybe we start in February, March, April, in May, with a site visit to one of the more I won't say aggressive, but larger projects that are ongoing. And that would give us some time to plan that now. And then on the months we don't meet, have a somewhat of a field trip. We'd have to come up with a date. We could pick the same third Wednesday of the month. If it worked out on your office's schedule, we can take a look at that for next year.
I do know that we should have 2 projects coming to completion, and one of the requirements for the Evergreen Pond is to host a field day education event, so I think that would be a great, I don't know that it would fall in this particular format, but we will be having an open house for people to come, the public, the utility board included, if that would be something you'd want to piggyback on.
A lot of those are, at least the ones I've attended, some of these outings, it's like 5 to 7 at night for the public, and, you know, it's held under a shelter somewhere close to the project. As opposed to this group being very much hands-on in the projects and approving projects or questioning projects. I think it's more, instead of talking about it in a meeting, actually going and visiting the site and seeing what we're actually doing to the site, especially on the larger projects. So you'd call it an extra meeting, but it won't be a formalized meeting per se. It would be a formalized trip.
A field trip meeting.
Right, if you want to call
We
it.
go to, we do a field trip, the board.
What were you? Sorry, I heard Van saying.
I'm just saying, if you get enough of us in one place, you're gonna have to advertise it in the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's a meeting, it's a board meeting.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think
That could be a challenge.
for now, well, we can call meetings at any time throughout the schedule. So I know if you're not looking to start it until May, it can be something that we try and figure out logistics on our end and then vote it to add it into the schedule, maybe at the February or April meeting.
I think that might be a good thing to do. We could put that into old business.
Okay. And 2, call me anytime.
Well, if
We can go out and do site visits whenever.
if nobody on the board has any objections, I'd like to appoint Brian Watkins to coordinate that with your office.
Okay, no problem.
Sounds good.
Why did you select the first one in May as opposed to having it earlier?
Well, only because, again, we get into these legal challenges that Mr. Willis has brought up, Van has brought up, that we don't meet again until February. And then after that, it's April.
Right.
So I just want to give everybody, especially the stormwater, time to coordinate.
Well, they're working all the time. It's different
sorry?
than us. They're working all the time. It's just a
Maybe you
thought.
could come up with a list of dates that would work for site visits, almost like a ride-along program where board members could come out and see. He's got a manpower shortage, maybe give him a shovel or something. They can do some work.
Go hard at it.
Plans and some site visits to properties, and, but we had to advertise them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have random public people show up. That's why the press never showed up anyhow, but
Yeah.
other people did.
So they didn't broadcast it?
No.
Okay.
Again,
It was,
because there's enough moving parts to this, Alan, I think we'll have to, give it some time, and that's why I pushed it out.
Yeah, okay. But I think at February, we should have a list of possible field trips.
I'm gonna let Brian work with Katie and come up with that list.
Okay,
So we don't sit here and try to, brainstorm it.
Okay. That works.
Anybody else have any unfinished business? Do you?
Motion to approve minutes.
Okay, we'll go back now and approve the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for October?
I move that we
Or, I'm
approve.
sorry, for November.
Motion to approve minutes from last November.
Correct. No,
We didn't meet
Just like-
last month. We met in October.
we met in October.
Okay.
So I need a motion.
I move that
Approve the
we
minutes.
approve the minutes as presented for the October meeting.
October 2021.
October 2021.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Let's go back to the approval of our agenda. The reason we are doing this backwards is because when we opened the meeting, we did not have a quorum to approve anything. Since we now have a full slate.
Excuse me, I don't have a copy of the agenda for today.
Put up on this one.
There was none here.
I'm good.
Thank you. Okay, I move that we approve the agenda as presented for today.
Before we approve, I'd like to amend your motion to approve, or if you would amend your motion to approve, there's a mistake on number 8 where it says next meeting agenda. It says Wednesday, January 19th, 2022, and it should say February 9th, 2022.
I revise my motion to correct it to the next meeting agenda, Wednesday, February
9th.
9th. I didn't get a chance to finish my note.
Second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The agenda is approved as amended. New business. New business. Under new business, we have a new schedule for 2022, a draft schedule. It should be on your screens in front of you.
Yes. So these are the 6 dates we've chosen for 2022. I previously emailed this to everyone, and I did hear back from a few people saying that this looked good as presented. All but the first and last meetings are the third, going back to the third Wednesday of the month. The first meeting is February 9th. This meeting we've moved up to meet some deadlines for budgetary purposes, and we like to present the management memo to you all prior to sending it to the municipalities. If we had it that next week, we would miss that deadline, and so that's the reasoning behind keeping it on the second Tuesday for the first meeting next year. And then the last meeting, the third Wednesday of the month, is December 21st, and that gets real close into the Christmas holiday, so it makes the most sense to do it on the second Tuesday, in my opinion. One thing I would like to note is I have moved the meetings back to the executive conference room. I know that there are boards and commissions and meetings going on at this time in executive conference room, so we would be leaving council chambers, going back to our previous meeting area, just so everyone's aware.
Is there any,
Okay, I move that we approve the calendar as presented for 2022.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, the calendar is approved. Public comment. There being no public comment, for the record, I would like to recognize the outstanding work of Katie Herrera, Stormwater Manager, this past year. She and her staff have done an outstanding job in maintaining the stormwater regulations in Beaufort County. Additionally, the Stormwater Utility Board's most ardent supporter to County Council is Mrs. Alice Howard. We thank you for all your support this year and years past. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't ask and state about the continuing support provided by our ex officio members from the cities of Beaufort, Port Royal, Bluffton, and the town of Hilton Head. Thank you all. It's invaluable in conducting our mission. And of course, the Stormwater Management Utility Board could not function without James Clark, Patrick Mitchell, Brian Watkins, Alan Schneider, and Steve Andrews. Thank you all for your time and support in 2020. Again, we ask, is there any public comment?
I would like to ask you as chairman if you would think about coming to the Natural Resource Committee meeting sometime in January or February.
I'll make them all if you.
You don't have to.
Just tell me when they are.
One of them to give a summary of this past calendar year, like highlights. So the first one would be January. The first is the first Monday of the month, 12 week of January.
I'll be there.
Yeah, the third.
I'll be there.
So if you can come and just give
I will.
a brief to the Natural Resource Committee because we want to start having the board chairmen, the different groups report to their committees, your accomplishments.
Not a problem.
Good idea.
Brag, the better it is, some of the volunteer groups, so.
Yeah, I think some people forget that we are
You're
all volunteering our time and efforts. Again, thank everyone. We have two people in the audience that didn't self-recognize themselves, and they're integral to the stormwater in this county. And would you please stand up and state your name and title? Both of them.
I'm Carolyn Wallace. I think everybody knows me. So I'm the business manager. Good to see everyone. Merry Christmas dinner time.
Same. And without Carolyn, we would have no monies, and nobody does anything today without money.
Yeah, appreciative of that money too. Alan Warren, USC Beaufort. So, gosh, I think the lab goes back to 2006, believe it or not. So we've been at it a long time on behalf of initially the town of Bluffton, and then I think in 2009, Beaufort County. So we appreciate the continuing support.
And again, the same back to you, Dr. Warren, and your laboratory and your microbiologists to work hard at getting us valuable information. Otherwise, without that information, you can't make any decisions. So thank you.
Yeah, we're proud of the relationship, what we do for the county, and we're, again, very, very appreciative for, 15 years of support. So.
Thank you. Again, before I bang the gavel and adjourn, is there anything from the members present here?
After Alan Warren's talked, I thought maybe the thing we could add is a visit to the laboratory.
Well, I guess we'll get with Miss Herrera and put that on the schedule of site visits or field trips. Sounds like a good idea. Sounds awesome.
Make sure you get that liability waiver.
I can tell you that Dr. Warren and I have just had a conversation of how many visits they get from certifying groups. They barely have enough time to do their own work, but maybe we can squeeze it in.
Yeah, I was just telling Mark that I think we spend about 30 to 40% of our time and a large percentage of our budget is literally maintaining state certification. So very labor intensive process, but obviously necessary.
I withdraw my comment. I'm just kidding.
No, it's valuable if we can,
Obviously, we would welcome you guys. We'd be more than happy to host you.
Yes, since they're more of an integral part of our organization.
Nate, Van, anything?
Good deal.
Thank you. And if there is nothing else, meeting adjourned.